it's reality. You can't run and hide from it and pretend that it's not happening or stuff like this does not go on, or mental illness isn't real or bullying isn't real. Hello world, my name is Tristan.
My name is Kimmy.
And you're now listening to Join
the Conversation Podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of Join the Conversation Podcast. We are your hosts. My name is Tristan.
My name is Kimmy.
And before we jump into today's topic, here's a quick recap of the last episode.
Oh my God, how many students do you have? She's like, I have about 30 something now. And she's by herself trying to teach all these kids, you know.
Yes, it's a lot of kids.
It's a lot of kids, and all of them learn differently.
So the topic for this week's episode is going to be based on the film The Joker. And I know a lot of you out there may have mixed feelings. You know, your opinion based on the film. There's, some good, some bad, probably more bad, actually. I don't know. But
personally, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I personally enjoyed it as well. If you haven't seen the film, you're kind of late to the party because it's been out for a while. We tried to wait until at least give it some time so other people who wanted to see the film and who didn't see the film at the time could see the film. And it's probably been some weeks now.
Mm-hmm.
So
probably months.
Some months probably. So now everybody should be able to chime in fully now and give their personal opinions on the film. So one of the things that we saw probably like around the time it came out on Facebook was an article that's basically, it headlined it that the Joker viewers walked out of the cinema because it was too dark. Personally, to me, I did not see the movie as being too dark.
I think it was just the perfect amount of dark.
Yeah, especially for the Joker. If you're, a Batman fan, then you know a good bit of the history and a lot of the dark stuff that the Joker probably has done. But I think the film wasn't nearly as bad as some of the stuff that the Joker has done, and I feel like the film was greatly executed because it showcased, it really brought mental health and mental illness to even a broader stage and a broader light, exposing it more and showing that mental health is very important. So what you think?
I think the movie was perfect in showing how, like you said, how important and how much of our mental health can affect a person. His mental health wasn't really something he could control because it was due to brain injury or brain trauma. And he had a condition where he would laugh at the most gruesome things or gruesome events, and he can't help it.
Yeah.
But that's something that is real. And go ahead.
I don't know if that's real. Like, does somebody really out there?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's possible.
Yeah,
I can see that being possible.
I can see it being possible because there's something in our brain. Obviously, there's connections out there that, because he was brutally beaten by his mama's boyfriend.
So he kind of found humor in. I get it.
Yeah.
And it could be something possible.
Well, I wanted to read this from the article. It said, talking to Twitter, one viewer said, I've just walked out of The Joker. Maybe I was naive in going / didn't realize what an origin story would be like. Maybe because I live with someone with mental health, it was just far too dark for me to be able to watch. First off, I feel like if you live with somebody that deals with mental health issues, I feel like this is a film that you would want everybody to watch because this brings light to the issue. And it shows that, like we said earlier, that it really brings the issue of it's not a joke. This is real. The film may be called The Joker, but the whole issue behind it is not a joke at all. And the whole film wasn't really about just mental health, but that was the main focus. It also had other issues going around, like
bullying.
Bullying, yeah. which was seen at the very beginning of the movie
Yeah.
when he got beat up and all that. The whole poor versus rich.
I kind of
how-
liked it
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
Yeah. And like, I don't know who made the comment. It was either your brother or something we probably read also, but it was about the whole police brutality thing. I personally didn't really see that. There was no really police brutality, at least from my perspective. I didn't see it.
Nah.
I don't think there was.
Nah. Yeah,
Because like it was mostly the whole rich versus poor, and how since the boys that was on the bus or the train, that first off, he did all that because of self-defense. It wasn't because he wanted to hurt them.
partially self-defense and partially because he low-key snapped a little bit.
I would have too. After the day he had, and then out of nowhere, these drunk rich people, drunk rich boys.
Pause. I wouldn't put that out there that you would too, because
Oh, I wouldn't. I
send you
can't do
straight to
that.
Colombia.
I can't do that, obviously.
Cause it's a little different when you kill multiple people.
Yeah.
And you go home like whatever, like everything's okay.
He did.
But
And he laughed the whole
crazy
entire
part
time.
is he knew what he did was wrong because he kept ducking the police
yeah.
and stuff. So, but at the same time, he's not all the way there. So at the same time, it's kind of like, I guess it really became with him dealing with his past and stuff like that happening to him. It, yes, it was in self-defense at the same time, but it was really just, he wasn't in his right mind to begin with, and it just made him snap. And the fact that he found dark stuff, humor in dark stuff, probably made it worse. So.
Yeah. Well, another comment off of the article. I guess we'll link this article down in the description of this episode. But it says, mental illness is a serious topic. Horrible, dark movie. We walked out of it. We don't recommend it. We already live in a sick society. Let's not add to it, please.
Go ahead. My bad.
No, go ahead.
Yes, mental illness is a serious topic, but the movie really showcased even more on mental illness, bringing more light to it. And not only that, to me, the movie wasn't that dark. First off, a lot of people just went into the movie blind, not knowing anything about who the Joker was or Batman and stuff like that. So
I feel like
I think that
how
plays
most
a part.
people were.
Yeah, I think that plays a part, and they don't understand it. After seeing all that stuff, they didn't understand it. But it's just reality, and it's just life. Yes, we live in a sick society, a sick world, and there's a lot of things that's going on around the world. But
my thing is that go ahead. Sorry.
My bad, but you have to acknowledge it. You can't just run and hide from it. So I don't really see it. Personally, I don't see why people will walk out because it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't. There was no there was blood and stuff like that.
But that's any movie, really. Action movie.
I was gonna say The Walking Dead is more gruesome than that.
Yeah.
So I think it's just people are taking the message of the movie in a whole different aspect that they shouldn't be taking it. Because go ahead.
My bad. Go ahead.
Because they stated the fact that they know that mental illness is a serious topic. But why not point it out if it is a serious topic? Why not bring awareness to it, and why not let it be known that, hey, this is something that people deal with almost every day. No, it may not be as severe as the Joker, but some are very severe to the point where they even commit suicide.
Yeah. Because, dealing with the stuff that he was dealing with, granted, he couldn't really remember his past until later on, figuring out some things.
That's when he really
snapped. Just the bullying that was happening to him. Yeah. And he's already, probably down. His mom is sick.
He's poor.
At the time, his mom, I'm gonna put quotation around that, was sick. He was poor, living in poverty. The job he had, he had a job, but the job he had, let's be honest, isn't the greatest in the world. It's not something, most people would want to do. So he could have easily, took his own life because, something that's very depressing for one, and then on top of that, you have people attacking you, kids attacking you, you get beat up, stuff like that. It's just crazy. But I had something that I wanted to point out. I think a lot of people kind of shied away from the movie and let's say walk out of the movie. Like prior comment about a person saying that they live with someone with mental health issues. So I feel like when they seen that movie, a lot of times when it comes to relatives and family members, a lot of times we turn a blind eye to their situations. So you may know in the back of your mind, like, okay, something is wrong with cousin Joe. Something's wrong with cousin Joe. He's dealing with some things. He puts on I can see past his smiles. He's always smiling and, seems lively, but past all of that, I know that there's some issues going on in his life. Mental things like depression and stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times we don't want to acknowledge it, or we don't want to acknowledge it and don't want to see anything being wrong, so we turn a blind eye to it. So this movie showcasing mental illness and we could say showing the dark side of mental illness as well. It's kind of like people kind of just want to. It got too much for them to where, okay, I'm living with this person that's dealing with this, but I don't want to think about my family member being not necessarily like that, but being in a bad situation or being, I don't know how to really explain.
I guess having to deal with something. Yeah,
having to deal with something like that. You don't want to see that family member in that light, and I think that's one of the reasons on why, as well.
And that is hard to, see somebody struggling with that type of issue, because it's not really something physical where you can, put a Band-Aid on it or get a surgery. It's not. It's literally just, there's not a scientific way to handle somebody with mental illness. And there's no prescription that you could give them. Yeah, there's medicine out there, but that person will probably be dependent on that. And you're not really talking to that person anymore. You're talking to the medicine, and you're living with somebody that is just altered because of the medicine. So in reality, they're not themselves, because that medicine really doesn't fix everything. And I feel like people that were walking away or basically downing the movie, they're having a difficult time seeing the reality of the movie.
Yeah.
And the truth behind the movie. Yes, mental health can be difficult to deal with, but showing the light and showing people that it's serious is very, very important, especially nowadays, because I feel like younger kids are having to deal with something like this at a very young age. We're having kids in elementary schools committing suicide because of bullying, because of certain stuff happening. Social media doesn't help. Yes, there's some there's some positives towards social media, it helps bring awareness, like we're doing now. We're doing this through social media. We're sharing our voice and bringing awareness to mental health. But also there's a negative aspect to it, because kids can't just come home and relax and forget about the bad day they had at school.
And then they're expected to go back to that same situation the next day.
Yeah.
And on top of that, they might not be comfortable to speak with their parents, or their parents don't have that connection to where they can't speak to someone, so they just bottle it up inside,
And sometimes the kids don't even get to spend that much time with the parents. All they do is come home, eat dinner, go to sleep. They don't have that quality time where, hey, the checkup time, the time that I try to have with you at night, where you check up on each other, hey, how was your day? what happened? You know, little stuff like that matters. So that's the thing we need to like also be cautious of. Like, make sure to keep up with somebody that you really care about. Stay on top of their mental health. Like, no, you don't have to coddle them. No, you don't have to baby them. Like, you know, but just be there for them. Check up on them, because that's all somebody might need. Like, they probably don't have that type of support at home, or they don't have that type of friends or whatever. Just be that person for them. And it's hard because people are afraid to speak up about it. Because we see now, like on YouTube sometimes, people are basically, I guess, making it a fad now. And they make like memes out of it and stuff like that. Which I feel like there's a lot of memes about the Joker now too. But like, it's kind of putting a bad connotation behind the whole thing of like mental health and stuff, because they're turning it into a joke. And they're saying, oh, I'm depressed, I'm this, I'm that. But then in reality, you're not. But there's people out there actually dealing with that type of issue. And they're afraid to say something because of that. Like, it's become a fad. They don't want people to think, oh, you're just trying to be part of this whole thing now. Or you're just trying to get attention. You're just trying to do this. You're trying to do that. Basically, ignore the fact that they are really dealing with something. Which, again, going back to the movie, this really brings awareness to it. Because it shouldn't have took him to be on a show. What was his name? Jerry, the guy he liked. Shut up.
I should know this too. I can't remember.
The funny guy.
I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember it.
Yeah, but it shouldn't have. Yeah, it shouldn't have took the Joker to be on the show to get some type of recognition of, hey, this man needs help. It shouldn't have took him that. And for the whole other aspect of the movie was like the poor versus rich. Like, I really understand that, because nowadays, I don't really know, because I'm not into politics that much, but I feel like there's so much more we can do for those that are in need that we don't do it. Because first off, we don't care, because I care, at least you care, but people that have the higher up than us most likely don't really care, because they're set in their ways. They're good, you know. Yeah. They have a house, they have a car, they're fed. They're good.
Yeah. And it's weird because, you know, if you look at, even if you think about it and you look at some of the, let's say, celebrities, put quotation marks around that, that a lot of people look up to, this and that and the fourth, and, you know, they showcase and they flaunt their money, their houses, what they're doing. But if you really focus in, what do they really do for their communities, or you know, really do in general for somebody under, you know, less fortunate than them, you know? And if you that's something to really think about. And if a lot of people think about some of the celebrities that they like, they'll probably see like, oh, you know what, this person hasn't, or, you know, this person hasn't done anything for someone less fortunate, you know?
Not saying they have to, but I mean,
it's not,
you know,
it's not that you have to, I guess, but at the same time, you should want to personally, I would feel.
Yeah.
If I had $1 million, I'm gonna give it a little bit. I'm gonna say a little bit more than $1 million. But let's say I had $50 million. There's no way, impossible. I want to say another word, but there's no way that I wouldn't go back to Denmark and create and build resources and things valuable there. Like I said, it's always a goal for me to build a public gym in Denmark, because growing up, there was always a love for basketball, but we never had anywhere that would accept us. So, except outside, playing in outside, you know, as kids, we used to have to go and buy from Rose's $1 net and put it up, climb on top of a trash can or something or whatever, and put it up. And then after a while, it rained a couple of days and you go out, play again, then the net pops, and then boom, there's another $1 I got to spend, and the city doesn't do anything. So there was always a plan to do something like that. But, you know, it's just a real thought, like, I don't know, just in general, it's just weird how there's a lot of rich people, but there aren't any a lot of rich people talk about, I don't know. I lost the track of thought that I was saying, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, if I had $50 million, me doing something with $2 million of it wouldn't affect me. It's like I probably wouldn't notice it,
Well, remember I was doing a project last night with LeBron James, and he was somebody that people probably can look up to because he didn't forget where he came from. He would always give it back to those in need, or to kids, to everybody really, if he had the means to. So I feel like that's a mindset people need to get on, is if you have the means to, give back.
Yeah.
No matter what. Because, shoot, you and I barely have the means to, but we're always talking about how we could make our community better, or just be there for everybody. And help people, help kids, be that resource for them, be that guidance for them. And I feel like that's something people forget about, especially when you bring in politics.
Yeah.
All they care about now is like, who's richer and who's more popular.
It's all about the attention.
Yeah, they don't really think about the reason why they're really doing it, or why they're running for mayor, like that Batman's dad did. It's just about popularity now.
Yeah.
They don't really care. They don't really plan on doing anything to help those in need. And that's what the Joker was really talking about and was bringing light to, was that, hey, Batman's dad doesn't really care. He just, wants your vote. He's not going to do anything once you vote for him.
Yeah. And that's what happens a lot of time, even in, I'm going to say reality, in real life, because that's a movie, but
yeah,
it's the same thing for our country. A lot of people, or a lot of politics and stuff, get up, say, yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Then when they get into the position, they don't do none of the things that they say they was going to do. So
nothing changes. I get it. Change takes time, but change also takes hard work and dedication. And I don't think we have that. I don't think people have that anymore. They just kind of cruise by now.
It's all about, I'm going to say, getting me. So focusing on making sure I'm good, and then the next man, hey, you figure that out.
Yeah. And I feel like it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
We should be, that was not a word. We should be united.
Yeah. There's enough money out here for everybody.
Yes.
So why be selfish and not want to give to the next man,
Yeah.
That's just me.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to say?
Nah, I don't at the moment that I can think of.
Overall, I think the Joker movie was a really good movie, and it brought a lot of attention to a lot of topics that should be talked about in the world, all over, honestly.
So,
we want to hear your opinion about the movie and what you think. Basically, all that fun stuff, if you think...
What you think about the film.
Yeah.
What you think about...
the topics.
The topic, mental health, rich versus poor, all that good stuff that we talked about today.
We would love to hear from you.
Yeah. Leave a comment down below. Make sure you follow us on SoundCloud and Apple Music. Yeah, Apple Music.
Well, Apple Podcasts on Apple.
Apple Podcasts. Not Apple Music, my bad.
I don't know.
But what else? I don't know.
We'll be coming back with more
episodes. Yeah. Yes, yeah. Because we know we in the hole, we behind, but we go figure it out. We go fix it.
Make sure if you do have any topics you would like for us to talk about, email us or comment on this episode, I guess, or on any episode we have about stuff you want us to talk about and hear our opinion. Yeah.
And not only our opinion, but your opinion as well.
Yeah.
So, this concludes this episode of Join the Conversation podcast. We are your hosts. My name is Tristan.
My name is Kimmy.
And we'll catch you on the next episode of Join the Conversation podcast.
Bye.